Hey everyone, you're watching the Esperanza 243. You're watching my book reading project of The Westing Game, Part 14. So in Part 13, for the recap, we got to learn about the first bomb. Pretty intense. But it turned out to be tomato sauce, not blood. And then there was a conversation between Angela, Turtle, and Sidell in Sidell's apartment, I think. Yeah, Sidell's apartment. And Turtle makes a harsh remark on her sister and Sidell. Ouch. And that's where we are, actually. So let's get to it. Did Mom really say that? Angela asked. No, but I know how she thinks. I know what everybody thinks. Grown-ups are obvious. Grown-ups are so obvious. Ridiculous, scoffed Sidell. For instance, I know that Angela doesn't want to marry that sappy intern. Ridiculous, you're just jealous of your sister. Maybe, Turtle had to admit. But I am what I am. I don't need a crush to get attention. Oh, she had gone too far. And seriously, that's what Ellen put. Turtle didn't mean it that way, Sidell, Angela said quickly. She used the word crutch as a symbol. She meant, that people are so afraid of revealing their true selves. They have to hide behind some sort of prop. Oh, really? Sidell replied. Then Turtle's crutch is her big mouth. No, Angela thought, hurrying her sister out of the door and back to their apartment. Turtle's crutch is her braid. The newspaper man called again to say he had found some photographs taken at Westingtown parties 20 years ago. One of those names appears in a caption as Violet Westing's escort, George Theodorakis. Go on, the judge said. That's all. He promised to send her the clippings in the Westing file as soon as he was shoveled out. The judge now knew of 4 heirs with Westing connections. James Ho, the inventor, Theo's father, her partner, Sandy McSallers, who had been fired from the Westing paper mill, and herself. But she had to learn more, much more, about each one of the heirs if she hoped to protect the victim of Sam Westing's revenge. She would have to hire a detective, a very private detective, who had not been associated with her in her practice or in the courts. J.J. Ford flipped through the yellow pages to Investigator's private. Good grief! Her finger stopped near the top of the list. Was it a coincidence or dumb luck? Or was she playing right into Sam Westing's hand? No choice but to chance it. The judge dialed the number and tapped her foot impatiently, waiting for an answer. Hello, if you're looking for a snowbound private investigator, you've got the right number. Yes, she had the right number. It might be a trick, but it was no coincidence. The voices were one and the same. Chapter 13, The Second Bomb. Oh! No one was in the kitchen of Shin Ho's restaurant when the bomber set a tall can labeled monosodium glutamate behind similar cans on a shelf. The color-striped candle would burn down to the fuse at 6:30. Whoever was working there would be at the other end of the room. No one would be hurt. Someone used Turtle's candle? Due to the unfortunate damage to the coffee shop, Shinho's restaurant is prepared to satisfy all dinner accommodations. Order down or right up to the 5th floor. Treat your taste buds to a scrumptious meal while feasting your eyes on the stunning snowscape before it melts away. Reasonable prices, too. Grace Wexler tackled her sign to the elevator wall as she rode up to her new job. She was going to be the seating hostess. "Where's the cook?" Mr. Ho shouted, meaning his wife. He found Madame Ho in their rear 4th-floor apartment, kneeling before her bamboo trunk, fingering mementos from her childhood in China. He hurried her up to the kitchen, too harried to find the words that would explain what was happening. Now where was that lazy son of his? Doug jogged in from a tiring workout on the stairs. How was he supposed to know the restaurant would open early? Nobody bothered telling him. "Some student you are. Anyone with the brain of an anteater could have figured that out. People are short of food. The coffee shop is closed for repairs. Stop arguing, go take a shower, and put on your busboy outfit. Get moving!" "Don't you think you're rather hard on the boy?" Grace commented. "Somebody's got to give him a shove. If he had his way, he'd do nothing but run," Ho replied between bites of chocolate. "You're not so easy on Angela either." "Angela? Angela was good. Angela was born good. The perfect child. As for the other one, well, it's not easy being a parent," Ho said woefully. "You can say that again." Grace held her breath. Her husband would have done just that. Said it again. But Mr. Ho only nodded and shared sympathy. What a gentleman. Only Mr. and Mrs. Theodorakis ordered down. The other tenants of Sunset Towers lined up at the reservations desk, waiting for Grace Winslow Wexler to lead the way. Oversized menus clutched in her arms, Grace felt the first proud stirrings of power rush up from her pedicured toes to the very top curl on her head. Ew. If Uncle Sam could pair off people, so could she. "You could see your brother every day, Chris. How about eating with someone else for a change?" She wheeled the boy to a window table without waiting for an answer. It would have been yes. The two cripples together, Sidel Pulaski thought. She'd show that high and mighty hostess. She'd show them all. She and Chris could have private jokes too, and everybody would be sorry they weren't sitting with them. "Was mu g goo g gippen?" Chris asked, baffled by the strange words on the menu. "I think it's boiled grasshopper." Sidel screwed up her face, and Chris laughed. "Or chocolate-covered mousse." "French fry mousse," Chris offered. Now Sidel laughed. They both laughed heartily, but no one envied them. Fine by me. "Your brother seems to be enjoying Miss Pulaski." Theo nodded, awed by the beautiful Angela, 3 years older than he, so fair-skinned and blonde, so unattainable. Here he was, sitting at the very same table with her, just the two of them, and he couldn't think of a single thing to say that wasn't stupid or childish or childishly stupid. Usually the quiet one, Angela tried again. Are you planning to go to college next year?" Theo nodded, then shook his head. Say something, idiot. Say something, idiot. "I got a scholarship to Madison, but I'm not going. I'm going to work instead." What big, worried, sky-blue eyes. The operation for Chris will be very expensive. That was worse. Now she's feeling sorry for him. If Chris had been born that way, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But he was a perfectly normal kid, a great kid. And he's smart, too. About 4 years ago, he started to get clumsy. Just little things at first. I think you know what he is. Perhaps my fiancé can help. Angela bit her lip. Thea was not asking for charity. And fiancé, what an old-fashioned, silly word. I went to college for a year. I wanted to be a doctor, but, well, you don't have as much money as my mother pretends. Dad said he could manage if that's what I really wanted, but my mother said it was too difficult for a woman to get into medical school. Why was she gabbing like this? And hello? How could it be too difficult for a woman to go into medical school? My sister is a registered nurse. I want to be a writer, Theo said. That really sounded like kid stuff. Would you go back to college if you won the inheritance? Angela looked down. It was a question she did not want to answer, or could not answer. Long before becoming a judge, Josie Joe Ford had decided to stop smiling. Smiling without good reason was demeaning. A serious face put the smiler on the defensive. A rare smile put a nervous witness at ease. She now bestowed one of her rare smiles on the dressmaker. I'm so glad we had this chance to become acquainted, Mrs. Bumbach. I had so little time to chat with my guests last night. It was a wonderful party. Florence Bumbach appeared even smaller and rounder than she was as she sat twisting her napkin with hands accustomed to being busy. Was her face permanently creased from years of pleasing customers, or was a tragedy lurking behind that grin? Have you always specialized in wedding gowns? Mr. Bumbach and I had a shop for many years. Bumbach's for the bride and groom. Perhaps you've heard of it? I'm afraid not. The judge would have said no in any case to her, to keep her witness talking. Perhaps you've heard of Flora's bridal gowns. That's what I call my shop after my husband left. I don't know much about groom's clothes. They're mostly rentals anyway. Florence Bumbach lost her timidity. The judge let her chat away. I'm using heirloom lace on the bodice of Angela's gown. It's been in my family for 3 generations. I wore it at my wedding, and I dreamed that someday I'd have a daughter who would wear it too. But Rosalie didn't come along until I was in my 40s, and the dressmaker stopped. Her lips tightened into an even wider grin. Angela will make such a beautiful bride. Funny how she reminds me of her. Angela reminds you of your daughter? The judge asked. Oh my, no. Angela reminds me of another young girl I made a wedding dress for. Violet Westing. Oh, wow! The heavy charms on Sidel Pulaski's bracelet clinked and clunked as she raised a full fork and flourished it in a practiced ritual before aiming it at her open mouth. Chris's movements were even jerkier. She's a good person, he thought, but she thinks too much about herself. Maybe she never had anybody to love. That's actually a good point. Here, let me help you to some of this delicious sweet and sour ostrich. Their laughter drowned out the loud groan from another table, where Turtle sat alone, a transistor radio plugged in her ear. The stock market had dropped another 12 points. Oh, poor Turtle. I'm starved. Let's sit down to eat. Head held high, Grace Flexer led her husband across the restaurant. All I want is a corned beef sandwich, not a guided tour. Would you prefer to sit alone or with that young lady over there? I thought I was going to sit with you. Please be seated. Mr. Ho, will take your order shortly. Jake snatched the menu from his wife and watched her glide, gracefully he had to admit, to the reservation desk and whisper in Ho's ear. Jimmy, she calls him. That's a fine kettle of fish, he exclaimed, then turned to his dinner companion. Fine kettle of fish. I'm so hungry even that sounds good, and from the looks of this menu, that's probably what I'll get. I'm okay, Turtle replied, the final prices of actively traded stocks rumbling in her ear. I'm going to stop there. I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, I almost forgot to let you guys know, I am starting a new radio show. It is blogtalkradio.com. Talk to you guys later. This is DS Bronze 2 for 3, signing out.